Hello and welcome back. In this episode of Death Throne we're going to be talking about battles. A really cool part and a really key part to victory in Death Throne. Now, basically there are two types of battles that you'll be getting into. Those between enemies that you'll find around the land and those between opponents, other players. First of all, I'm going to touch on enemies. Okay, so let's say that my character wants to move around in the docks region. He moves a couple of steps and there he goes, he lands there. Now, before I start, I'd like to mention that there are two types of enemies that you need to think about. There's enemies, which is an umbrella term that covers anything that can battle you other than other players. And then there's creatures, which is the non-human type of enemies. So, he's in the dock region, so of course draws from the bottom, docks card, and lo and behold, it's an enemy card. In this case, it's a bandit. This bandit has an attack of 6 and a defense of 3. So they will always get the first attack because you stumbled upon them and they don't like you. With an attack of 6, he can do not too much, but with their attack, if you can't stop them with a scroll card, then they will attack you and deduct the relevant amount of health. The health that you lose is always calculated by deducting their attack from your defense. Your defense is given to you by your shield, or if you don't have a shield, then it's your character's natural defense. But in this case, I have a shield, and my shield offers me 5. He attacks me with 6, so I lose 1 health. The health always goes down with the rectangular health marker, and in this case just goes down by 1. The hexagonal marker, health board marker, is your armor. That only moves up and down when you equip or lose armor, or sell armor, or something like that. But if you're losing health, then it's your current health marker, which is the rectangular one. So, now it is my turn to attack it. It's done its attack, it took health, now it's my turn. My sword has an attack of 6, and this guy has a defense of 3. So, after I attack it and deduct my attack from its defense, then he would lose 3 health. So, of course, 3 is more than 1, so I would win. That is how you defeat an enemy, by deducting more health from them than they did from you. Of course, if they deduct more health from you, then you can inflict damage on them, then you would lose. If you lose, some creatures or enemies will have a condition. Under their name, it would say lose something or remain here or something along those terms. In this case, it says lose shield. So if I did lose against this guy, I would have to return the shield from where I got it. In this case, it's a docks region, so it would go back into the docks region. It would also take away an equal amount of coin to its level. It has a level of 4, so he would take 4 coin from me. But, of course, I beat him, so I don't have to lose my shield. That only happens if you lose. But I still get a reward of 4 coin equal to his level. So I defeated him, I get 4 coin, 3, 4, and this guy goes back to where he came from, the docks region. Goes back on top, and that's it. I end my turn because I won the battle. Other enemies that you might find, if you defeat them, you can get other rewards. On top of the coin that you receive for defeating them, equal to their level, under their name, just like where the lose or remain, the negative stuff, is also the reward stuff. In this case, it's a crocodile, and I would be rewarded with a croc tooth. That's an essence. So if I want to keep that afterwards, then I simply, after defeating the creature, put its card in my inventory or in my rucksack or somewhere, as long as I have it on my person. And that's how you keep enemy cards to summon back into the future in battles or to sell to the market. Other rewards might be scrolls or something else, but if you do win something, then you keep the card. So let's talk about opponents. Opponents are players. It's important to remember that distinction because anything that has an effect like scroll cards or some kind of enchantment, if it says opponents, it means you can only use that against other players, not enemies in the land. So, this is how you start a battle with other players. After rolling, you of course need to land on another opponent. It's kind of like an interaction but you're interacting with them and not the region or step. You also have to announce that you're going to attack them, because if you walk over a player, then they can initiate an attack, even if it's not their turn. So it's my turn now. I say, I'm attacking you, Faluin, and I make my way over to him and start a battle. That way, I get the first attack. If they attack first, then they get the first attack. Now that we're in a battle, the real fun can begin. The other players, of course, if it's a 4+ scenario, they move around as normal, but more on that in the 4+ video. Also, for more details on scrolls, you can check out the scrolls video as well. So, in a battle, it's kind of like between enemies, but there's more back and forth. You're constantly mitigating each other's attacks, and it's a constant back and forth until either someone loses or dies or flees or gets kicked out of the battle somehow. It's my turn to attack because I initiated the battle, and so I attack Faluin. My sword has an attack of 6 and he has a defense of 3. Just like before, he would lose 3 health because of 6 minus 3 is 3. That's how you find how much health you're going to lose. He has no scrolls that he can use against me, so simply take his current health marker and move it down by 3. 1, 2, 3. If I don't want to do anything else, then that's my battle turn over, and it's now Faluin's battle turn. Now that it's Faluin's turn to attack, he looks at his options and he sees that he has a scroll. This scroll says, during battle, conjure Hell's Axe, and it lasts for 1 battle round. So that's pretty good, because his sword can only give an attack of 6 and I have a defense of 5, and this axe has an attack of 11, so it's a lot better than his current sword. So it overtakes his current weapon in the battle, meaning that he can't use his current weapon, the sword. He has to use this axe. He now has the ability to attack me with 11 and my defense of 5. However, with my defense scroll that I also have, during his actual attack, I can deflect his attack back onto him. It says deflect your opponent's own attack, not their creatures, onto any player in the battle. And obviously I'm going to choose him. So he attacks me, I deflect it back onto him. He has a shield of 3. It still works in the same way. He's still receiving an attack, and so he has to deduct his 3, so he goes down by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's already dead. 0 health for him. Faluin dies, and I am supreme. Now obviously that was a very quick example of a battle. A real battle would be a lot more complex, with players constantly mitigating each other's scrolls, getting one over the other, breaking each other's weapons, weakening their defenses, and even teleporting themselves or their opponents to other places of the land, even dropping them into the dreaded rocks region to try and battle some kind of terrible creature. So, what do I get now that I've beaten him? Well, Faluin doesn't have a level, so I can't take coin off him like that, but I can steal items from him. Whilst he is still there, whilst he's dead and I've just defeated him, I can take his coin and I can take items and other things from him. You can take up to 3 items. Coin, medallion pieces, and region stones, no matter how many, all count as 1 item. So in this case I've got 6 coin, that's 1 item. 2 medallion pieces, that's 2 items. And I'm also going to take his sword because I want to weaken him for when he comes back. That is 3 items in total. I'm just going to put that sword in my inventory. So what happens to him? Well, at the time of his death, he had at least 1 medallion piece. It doesn't matter that I took him from him. He died with a medallion piece in his possession. So that means he stays for 1 round out of the game, and on his next turn, he can respawn at any inn. If he dies without a medallion piece, then he's gone out of the game. Let's rewind and see what other options there are. Faluin can see that he's probably not going to win this battle, so he probably wants to get out of there. If he has some teleport scrolls, then on his turn, before he attacks, he can activate a teleport scroll and get out of there. Either by forcing me, his opponent, somewhere else in the land, or by running away himself. Another way of getting out of a battle is by rolling a 9 or higher. If, again, on your turn, you want to flee, you can simply roll the dice and roll a 9 or higher. In this case, I did get a 9, so I'd be able to run away by using the number that I rolled, 9 or whatever else is rolled after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I get out of there. If, however, I don't roll a 9, then my turn is over and I can't play anymore, so it's now my opponent's turn. Another way of getting out of a battle is by trapping all of your opponents. In this case, there's only one opponent, me. So if he managed to trap me somehow, either by using a scroll card or by any other means, then he could just simply roll both dice, doesn't matter what number he rolls, and get out of there. Just one last thing to remember, that when you are in a battle, the other players are still playing the game around you. They might come in and join you, or they might outmaneuver you. Just things to consider. And that's battles in a nutshell.